My father died when I was 5 and my mother passed away when I was 17. I have a sister, Lena, who is 4 years younger than me. After our mom passed away, Lena and I got by with some help from relatives. Once mom got sick, I quit high school and started working part-time jobs to make a living. I learned how to cook, something I had never done before, to prepare meals every day for Lena. I made time between jobs to attend school events and tried to give all the love I could to raise my sister right. Lena always expressed her gratitude to me. She's a very honest, hard-working, and lively girl with many friends because of her personality. Eventually, I left my part-time jobs and was lucky enough to get a job at a local company. Lena, on the other hand, went to a high school for welfare studies and, after graduating, started working at a welfare facility. Henry, since we lost Dad and Mom early, there's no one for us to care for, right? That's why I wanted to work at the welfare facility, to help people who are physically struggling. I was really impressed when I heard her reason for choosing her job. I'm proud of how well my sister has grown up. With her employment, Lena began living on her own, and we started living apart. At her workplace, Lena, always smiling and friendly, seemed to be well liked by the elderly residents and her colleagues. Lena has always been earnest and gives her all in everything she does. That attitude must touch people's hearts. That's something our late mother always used to say. Remember, whatever you do, give it your all with all your heart. If you do, your feelings will get through and ultimately lead to good results. Dad always used to say that too. I believe Lena inherited that spirit from our mom. As for me, I'm clumsy and not very savvy. I get flustered easily when I'm rushed, often irritating those around me. The company I work for supplies locally grown and processed vegetables to supermarkets nationwide. My department manages the sales of these products in supermarkets. It's been 8 years since I joined the company, but my time at work hasn't been very fulfilling or successful. I've been living some pretty remarkable days. That's why they still don't trust me with important jobs. Then one day, there was a seat change in the department, and I had to work next to Oliver, the head of the department. Oliver is quiet and unsociable, but very competent at his job. He's around 50 years old, with a handsome face, looking more like he's in his 40s. I find him a bit hard to handle. I've never seen him smile, and his face when he's working is kind of scary. Once, when I asked him something I didn't understand, he snapped, "Are you asking me something even a newbie would know?" Since I started working near Oliver, I was always nervous and felt overwhelmed every day. Oliver gets annoyed if you ask him something he's already explained once. "I already taught you this before, didn't I? Don't ask twice, it's a waste of time." Saying this, he wouldn't teach me again. I can tell my slow learning frustrates him. And then, Oliver began to delegate his work to me. The job was simple enough for anyone to do, but there was just so much of it. I had to check the sales of products delivered to each store and identify the popular items, but with so many types, I couldn't finish without working overtime. Although the tasks were simple, they were time-consuming and tough. Afterwards, Oliver didn't assign me any difficult tasks. He just kept dumping a large quantity of easy tasks on me. "Don't forget to check the products again today. Once you've done that, make sure to compile the data into a report." I have to check them again." "What? You got a problem with that?" "No, not at all, I got it." Overtime again. Even when my overtime was inevitable due to the workload, Oliver would leave without saying a word. I wish he'd help out a bit. I guess he just doesn't like me. And probably thinks I'm not capable. That's the feeling I had. Amidst these days, I got some happy news from Lena. She was getting married to her boyfriend. He was the son of a doctor she met through her work. I had met him several times after Lena introduced us. He was a calm and well-mannered guy. I thought he would surely make Lena happy. And being a doctor's son, he probably wouldn't struggle financially. Kind of like marrying into a wealthy family. Lena, who had lost our parents early, had been through a lot of hardship. As her brother, I was happy to know she was marrying into a wealthy family, but then I got a call from her. "Hello, Henry. What's up all of a sudden? What's going on?" I've decided to marry him." "Oh, really? That's great. I fully support your marriage to him." "Yeah, so I want you to come to the wedding." "Oh, of course." So I was going to attend Lena's wedding. I reported it to HR and also to Oliver, but he just said I see and nothing more. Man, at least a congratulations would have been nice, I thought. 3 months passed, and on the day of the much-awaited wedding, I headed to the venue in a newly tailored suit. I even prepared a high-end camera to capture Lena's big day. I was really looking forward to my sister's wedding. While excitedly imagining Lena in her bridal gown, I was on my way to the wedding venue. While waiting for the traffic light, I spotted an old man sitting on the edge of the road, unable to move. He must have been around 70 years old. He was sitting with his belongings, holding his leg. I rushed over and asked, "Are you okay? Could you give me a hand?" I immediately offered my shoulder and suggested taking him to the hospital, but he smiled and said, "I just stumbled a bit. I'll be fine once I get back to my facility." "Really? Where is your facility?" I was surprised when I heard the details from the old man. It turned out he was attending the welfare facility where Lena worked. He had fallen and hurt himself on the way there. I quickly hailed a taxi to take him. When I mentioned in the car that Lena worked at that facility, he was surprised. "You're Lena's brother. What a coincidence." He then smiled and said, "Lena always treats me well. Her smile truly saves me every time. It really lifts my spirits." Hearing that made me happy too. Suddenly, the elderly man looked at me and said, "You're wearing a very nice suit. Do you have something important going on today?" When I honestly replied, "Actually, it's Lena's wedding today," he looked alarmed. "I'm so sorry. Don't worry about me. You should head there right away." "No, it's all right. Please let me take you to your facility," I insisted. And so, I took the elderly man to the facility. It seemed he had heard about Lena's wedding but didn't realize it was today. He kept apologizing, saying, "I'm sorry for causing trouble on such an important day." "It's okay. Please don't worry about it," I reassured him. After dropping off the old man, I hurried to the wedding venue. I jumped into a taxi, but unfortunately, traffic was heavy, and I arrived much later than planned. I managed to make it in time for my speech, but I felt indescribable disappointment for not being there from the beginning, as I had looked forward to the ceremony. Lena comforted me, saying, "I'm just happy you could make it," but I still felt mixed emotions. Lena looked beautiful in her wedding dress. I thought our dad and mom would have cried tears of joy if they were alive. I took many pictures of my sister's once-in-a-lifetime moment with the camera I brought. The wedding ended successfully, and due to the hectic day, I didn't get a chance to tell Lena about the elderly man I met. I thought I could tell her another time when things had settled down. The next day, I went to work as usual. As soon as I arrived at work, Oliver turned to me and said, "I need to talk to you for a minute." His usual stern face made me nervous. Yes," I replied, feeling anxious inside. Did I do something wrong? It was the first time Oliver had asked to talk to me. I was really nervous. Maybe he was going to scold me, I thought as I followed him. As soon as we entered the meeting room, Oliver bowed his head and said, "I'm sorry." I was taken aback, and Oliver continued, "And, thank you, really." He then revealed a surprising fact. The elderly man I had helped the day before was Oliver's father. The old man had spoken to Oliver about me at the facility. On that day, I had given the elderly man my business card as I was leaving. He must have seen the card and realized that I worked at the same company as Oliver. Oliver said. Your sister Lena seems to take good care of my father. He's been smiling a lot more since he started going there. While saying this, Oliver smiled warmly, a sight I had never seen before. I was a bit shocked to see this side of him. Oliver continued to talk happily about his father. He must really love his father. He even shared memories of his father from his childhood. Then suddenly, Oliver said, I have high expectations for you. What? I exclaimed in surprise. I stared at Oliver, making a silly face. You'll do well once you've got the basics of the job down. That's why I gave you a job for a while, so that you could learn a simple job perfectly first. Oliver continued. I wouldn't bother giving work or getting angry at someone I see no potential in. The task of checking the best-selling products delivered to stores is the foundation of the job, he said, patting my shoulder. Indeed, Oliver was right. His tone was as blunt as ever, but his face carried a kind smile. Thank you, I'll work hard to meet your expectations, so please keep pushing me, I replied with a smile. To that, Oliver said, well, I guess I'll have to be even tougher on you now, jokingly with a smile. I think it was the first time I ever saw Oliver smile. I told Lena about this whole series of events. Apparently, Lena had met Oliver a few times. But she hadn't talked about work, so she didn't know I worked at the same place and that he was my boss. Lena told me about Oliver. Oliver really loves his dad. He often comes to the facility with him on Sundays and watches over his rehab. He's not the type to smile and chat, but he's like a gentle son in front of his dad, which is kind of adorable, she said. Imagining Oliver in this light, I found it endearing. Oliver seemed quite charming in a way. After that, I started to work hard under Oliver. Gradually, the scope of my responsibilities expanded. As usual, he was strict with work and I got scolded a lot, but I also began to receive some praise. After a while, I started training new employees and am now in charge of education. Lena continued working at the facility after her marriage and still meets Oliver's father regularly. Since that incident, Oliver and I have occasionally gone out for drinks. I still get nervous talking to him, but I'm glad we've been able to close the gap a bit. I've also recently gotten a girlfriend who is 2 years younger than me. She's an employee at one of our business partners, and we grew closer while working together. Oddly enough, Oliver knew about my girlfriend and sometimes offers to give love advice when we're drinking, saying, if you ever need relationship advice, I'm here for you. Now, every day feels truly fulfilling. It seems like fun days are waiting for me both in my work and personal life. I only live once and I want to enjoy it to the fullest. That's how I feel.